People are waiting to be inspired. People are waiting for whatever you're creating. So hang on to that and take the little steps. What's the next little step you can take towards like this journey of confidence? What is, think about that. Like, what's the next little step that you can take and focus on the tiny steps, not the where you want to go, the big picture, but then focus on the tiny steps.
Hey, I'm Mariah, and I'm a filmmaker, and an ADHDer, and a writer, and a woman who deals with anxiety, and a photographer, and, okay, you get the picture. Hey, I'm Mariah. Did I say that already? And I'm a storyteller who cares a whole lot about mental health. A lot of times, we often separate storytelling and mental health from each other. Honestly, we tend to separate mental health from everything. But I find these two to go hand in hand. When you're telling a story, that point is to connect with your audience. On a deeper level, check this out. Connect with their mind. Storytelling is everything. Movies, music, video games, art, all of it. And mental health has a lot to offer too. Depression, autism, PTSD, and so on. I'm on a mission to understand and learn more about both storytelling and mental health. Whether it's digging deep into mental health disorders, checking out the psychology of characters from all over, dissecting the power of music on our emotions, hearing the personal stories of creatives, my goal is for us to be more seen, heard, understood, and learn who we are. Welcome to my podcast, Everything Storytelling, plus Mental Health. This is your host, Mariah Nasir, and let's dive right into it. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Everything Storytelling plus Mental Health. And today we're talking about finding confidence in a competitive world with Linda Cajuste. Linda Cajuste is a dedicated confidence coach, ACC ICF certified life coach, and ideation strategist who empowers shy and introverted women entrepreneurs to find their voices and confidently pursue their goals. With over 15 years of experience in the corporate world as an accountant, she understands the challenges of stepping outside your comfort zone. After more than a decade of studying improv, Linda integrates creativity and spontaneity into her coaching approach. As the co-founder of My Creative Break, she creates meaningful opportunities for authentic networking and connection and runs a team-building company that emphasizes collaboration. So, that is really cool. Would you give us a little fun fact about you?
Sure. Well, lately I've been really into playing pickleball. I don't know if you heard, it's like this sports that is like a crossover between like tennis and ping pong. So I'm pretty into that. So I would say that's my fun fact of the day.
Awesome. I definitely know about pickleball. It's something that goes around at my work a lot, and I've been meaning to like get to see that more of. But I am like interested in seeing. I just kind of just want to know how it kind of works. Like you said, it's a mixture of all these different sports, and I'm curious to see. I'm just curious to see how it like plays. So.
Yes, it's really fun. It's really fun. I if you love rocket sports, and you'll be okay. There's a couple of rules, but it is fun.
Rocket sports. What is rocket sports?
Oh, no, racket. Like using a racket like tennis. If
Oh, I was
you're
like,
ready, yeah.
what is a rocket sport? Okay. Rocket. All right, that makes total sense now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna start out with our little mental health check-in of the week, and I will start out. So this week has, hmm, it has been. I feel like every time I do my mental health check-in, it's like up and down, and it is. It is definitely
Hmm.
up and down. Um, Yesterday wasn't that great, honestly. It just wasn't that great at work. So I just wasn't like mentally like the best. Um, but like this past before that, like this weekend, I was so like happy and everything. I was so excited. I
Mm,
am looking into this new interest. I don't know if it's gonna be something I'm gonna be really
mm.
like, oh, I'm gonna be like dedicated in, but I'm kind of looking into voice acting. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm gonna look into it
Ah.
because it seems fun and I am excited. And I literally got into a hyper fixated mode of learning all about it because that is what I do. I like to learn new things. I got all into it. So that is what I did this past weekend, and it's been very exciting. Um, Also, I feel like I did other things. I think that was my main thing, was randomly researching. I remember my dad called me like this past weekend and he said, "Oh, just seeing what you're up to." I said, "Oh, I'm just watching TV." And he said, "Oh, okay,
Mhm.
cool. What are you watching?" I was like, I'm just watching about how to get into voice acting." I guess he thought I was watching some cartoon or something, but or some movie. Like, "Oh, no, I'm just watching an info video." How to get into voice acting. So, anyways, anyways, my mental health check-in. I feel like that was a whirlwind answer, but it is basically just been a good, not that great yesterday, but has been better today. So, yeah.
Oh,
How
good, good, good.
how about you?
Yeah, no, yeah, mental health check-in. I think like, yeah, today's pretty like I would say like it's okay. Like I'm good. I've been on the go these past few weeks. So there was a downtime afterwards. Like, you feel a little bit drained after doing like had to travel a little bit, like so out of town and then come back and then go to work and all that. So then you kind of like relax and you're just like, okay, I need to rest. Like I need some rest and to disconnect a little bit and to my body needs some rest. But after like, yeah, I've been good and I've been spending time with my family. And then, I was this weekend, like I went to um shop for like costumes for Halloween with my nieces, which was really fun. I love that. So yeah,
Cool.
that makes me super happy. So that's been good.
That's really cool. I feel like you travel a lot. Do you like how often do you travel like per month?
Um, well, it's not really monthly, but like I would say like every few months, like,
Okay.
we have events like in other city. So yeah, so here and there for business, every few months, like yeah, we go there, but it's mostly for business. So that's why it's like on the go, and then come
Mhm.
back and continue to work and you don't get time to rest sometimes. So but yeah, it's been cool. It's been fun and I'm very happy.
Okay, cool. That's like on my bucket list that I want to get to travel more and everything. Are there any cities that you really want to go to?
Oh yes, a lot. Like in Europe, I really want to go like so as far as countries, like I want to go like to Portugal. It's been on my list for a while. So yeah, definitely like in Europe, Portugal. I want to go to Greece. And then yeah, visit like kind of like closer city like here. So I'm in Canada. So I just want yeah, I went through Toronto, but I'd love to go to Vancouver as well. So yeah.
Mhm. Cool. Yeah, I want to visit. Honestly, I want to visit Canada. I want to visit a lot of places. I want to just get out of South Carolina and visit other
Yes.
places.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so,
Also New York. New York is on my list. Like I haven't been to New York in a while, so
uh-huh.
definitely New York. And I definitely want to go to LA someday. So we'll
Same. I
see.
want to visit LA too. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to like I've been to New York City a million times, to be honest. I wanna go to LA and just say, "Yeah, I've been to New York City and LA." So, but I just really it's cool though, because 'cause I'm into film and all that stuff, and,
Yes, exactly. And I would
big
say
cities
like,
exactly. Yeah, so I want
us
to
creative, like
us creatives, like, yeah, it's just like LA is just like it's like getting my attention, like, "Okay, I wanna visit you, LA." So,
yes, it's been the since I was a teenager. I was like, Hollywood is calling me. So,
yeah. Ah,
yeah.
but okay, great, great. Well, I think that is good. I'm gonna go into the questions.
Hmm.
So, tell us about you and your story. How did you get into confidence coaching?
Well, yes, it's been a long journey, to be honest. But I'll start with we talked about being creative, and I talked about like Hollywood. So, um, when I was like younger, a child, I mean, I always been, attracted to just like writing and performing and just like storytelling, TV and stuff like that, movies. Um, but I've always been shy. Like all my life, I've been, I was shy, but I always had these dreams like, oh, maybe I want to be on Broadway. Maybe I want to write my own play. Maybe, someday. But yeah, so years went on. I never really quite explored, but sometimes on the side I would write like for myself, never really shared with anyone. Um, but until, I would say like yeah, maybe like until like the last few, the past 10 years. So I stumbled upon an improv class. Um, and how I came across is because like I was looking at, I told myself like, you know what, Linda, like your passion really lies into like this, storytelling, everything. You need to make a move because like I've been studying in I went on a different path, so accounting, and so it's like totally different of what I love, right? So while I liked accounting, my passion really lies into like, yeah, creating stories, and I always had these dreams of having like my own show, my own play or something like that.
Mhm.
But I had to start somewhere, and really yeah, when I was looking for maybe a writer's class or something like that, I stumbled upon an improv class. And I was like, okay, you know what? I didn't really know what improv was all about, but I told myself like, it seems really cool. It seems something that I wanted to meet other like-minded people, get into, being more spontaneous. Sometimes we have writer's block. I wanted to maybe it would help my writing, meeting other creatives or whatnot. So I'm like, okay, let me just sign up for there was just a trial class, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it out and see from there. And then I went to that class, and while, it was really fun, however, like I was looking around the class, I was like, it was people from all walks of life. We're just doing games that we used to do when we were kids, very silly. And at first I was like, this is like a little bit silly, I've been used to just like, oh yeah, accountant, serious and everything. But so for me, I was like, this is silly, but this is super fun. So, and they were so nice. Everyone was so kind of like welcoming and everything. So yeah, I decided to pursue it. I decided to just like stick around, and before you know it, like from a class to another, and then I was on stage performing, and after a few years, yes, I wrote my first like improvised play. I went on to perform like in a Fringe festival that like for a few days, and yeah, it's just like I went like with the I would say the power of improv. Like it really helped me get out of my comfort zone and get out of that bubble. By being surrounded by like-minded and supportive people, it really helped me open up. And this mentality of like, because there's a saying in improv that say yes and, right, and this saying, it pushed me to try things not only in improv, but in my life. So I was trying all these new things, while I was doing improv, it really kind of pushed me to do other stuff. So yeah, I would say like very long story short. So this is that. And then, with the help of improv, I took a sabbatical leave from my work, and I was very grateful that in my at my workplace we're able to take 1 year sabbatical leave. And I decided that okay, I'm gonna take that leave and live as a creative. Just put the accountant aside, and so I flew to Paris for a year, and I decided to just live like say yes to create my creativity. So during that year, I was able to like shoot my first short film. I was able to experiment a lot of things, try stand up. I say yes to a lot of things, even though like it was scary, but I really pushed myself to try these things because I knew I had like 1 year, and then once the year was up, just like Cinderella, I'm like, poof, okay, I have to go back to work. I'm very grateful, but it was time was over, and I went back to work, but I was so fulfilled by what this year, what I learned through that year, and I grew so much. I learned so much. And yeah, so afterwards a lot of other things happen. And like, I was able to establish like my company, like I'm co-founder of a company and just start my coaching and everything. So, but this is like, let's say just like the origin story. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I just gotta say that is nice that you were able to. What was it called? A sabbatical? As you said, a sabbatical year.
A
Sabbat
sabbatical year.
sabbatical year. I wish
Yes.
the United States had that. I don't think United. I'm pretty sure the United States don't have that. I wish it's nice. I wish I could
Yeah, but
have that.
it's not every workplace that has it. Like I'm very fortunate. Like at my workplace, it's
Okay,
like
okay,
it depends. They have that,
okay,
so it's not like everywhere. So,
okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, okay, I did hear something about that too, and yeah, they have something like that in Europe, or they have something where they really take like mental health seriously, and they like allow you to like take days off when you're feeling depressed, anxious. But yeah, here in the United States,
Hmm.
I mean, they might have that. I don't know, but just the ones I know, they don't have that. I, that's nice though. So I just gotta say, first of all, that is nice. I would love that. But anyways, I just love your story because our stories are very similar. Same thing for me.
Yes.
I've always been into storytelling. You know this. I've always been into storytelling. With- when I was living with my grandma, I always was like just like always interested in saying like or telling like a movie or a story to my grandma. And it was just so fun doing that. And I had this like very similar dreams as well, making movies, writing plays, things like that, having a studio, things like that. So I relate to that so much. And then when you talked about it's like you being an accountant and realizing, I want to do what I want to do. I relate to that because I was a nursing major um, in college, and like I made it into the nursing program, and just like that like I was halfway through college, I was like, you know what? Nah, this is not for me. I want to do what I want. So your story is just you share a very similar story. So I
Yes.
really enjoy that. I really enjoy that. That's
Y-
really cool.
y-
And it was cool
That's
too how you
amazing.
got to go to Paris um, during your whole year off, which I was again I'm jealous. But anyways, that's
I I say, because this was before like Emily in Paris. So I was like, before Emily in Paris, like the show, there was like Linda in Paris. So yeah.
great though. Okay, so you talked about improv. What is it exactly? And what do you like to use that is one of your methods for confidence building? Or I guess let me
Yeah.
rephrase that question. Why do you like to use that as one of your methods for confidence building? I know I just want to add in for improv. When I think of improv, I think of that game where you kind of start with this, like you start with like you do this alphabet type improv where you start with the first letter and you
Yes.
continuously like yeah, that's what I think of. So just like yeah, tell me all
Yes.
about it and everything.
Yes. So improv, like, the like what you were talking about, like there's short form games, and I think like a lot of people know like whose line is it anyway? So things like that, like very short form games where you're very spontaneous. But as like improv is like an art form, okay? So it's an art form that is unplanned, like very spontaneous, that things happen spontaneously, right? And it can be like there's short form, so the games, but it also like long form, which is like you can do a whole play that's improvised, of course, with like some training, but where basically you're inspired by something to create in the moment. So it's like very spontaneous. It's unplanned, and can create stories like that, and short games that have rules. So there's different games as well. Um, but yeah, no, just in all, it's really and improv is short for improvised like theater, right? So it's like improvised play, and it's really the act of doing like a, a play or whatnot that's unplanned, that's like um spontaneous.
Cool. So why do
Yeah.
you like to use that as one of your methods for confidence building?
Oh, yes. So, like I said, I told you about because in improv there's this really principle. So the basic principle is like something called yes and I'll kind of expand on that because yes and does it mean? It means to say yes to an offer that's being made. So, for instance, if we're playing some kind of game or we're doing a scene together, if I say something, for instance, like, oh, we're going to the mall, and you have to kind of like accept what I said. Like, you receive the offer, say yes, and say, like, okay, yes, we're going to the mall. And so the yes and is like, and you add something. So, yes, we're going to the mall and we're gonna go to the movies afterwards. Or you add your own twist. So basically, it's kind of just like passing around something. It's like, you receive something, you add to it, you accept it first, you add on to it, and that's how things are created in the moment. So you have to kind of build upon what's presented to you. And I find this principle has been for me like helping me throughout life because like you know most of us like we do improv in real life as well, whether it's at work or there's things that come that it's unplanned, things that we have to kind of accept, like situations that sometimes we are it's just like it comes before us and we have no choice to deal with that, so we have to accept what's there and kind of deal with that, so I say like it helps like in life, it helps like, as like entrepreneurs or whatnot. Um, so it's really this principle, like for instance, even I told you like when I went during my year of my sabbatical year, I say yes to a lot of things. Like for instance, like when people say, "Oh, you want to try like stand-up comedy?" I was terrified, but I told myself like I would kind of like say yes, so yes, and I'll see what it's like, what it's all about. So it really opens up like, you go like towards the uncomfortable, you get out of your comfort zone, but the more you kind of do it, you get kind of comfortable with the uncomfortable because you do know like you have the tools to deal with it, by saying yes and adding, that okay, I don't know everything, but I do know that I'm gonna find a way to, make something with whatever is presented in front of me. So you gain confidence by with that, and so that's what I love about like improv, and because I've practiced it for more than a decade now, and it's something that has an impact on my life. I've seen the change. I went from super shy to people say, "Oh, you don't look shy." Well, it was a journey, and I still believe that I'm still shy. I'm still introverted and shy. But if you had met me 10 years ago, maybe I wouldn't be on your podcast because I would be too scared. I would be too shy to even. So to say that I love using those kind of techniques. There's a lot of techniques. There's a lot of role playing games and stuff like that to
Mm.
help develop this kind of like getting out of your comfort zone and embodying like being just like being comfortable with being comfortable.
Nice, nice. I like that answer. I really enjoy that. I honestly I honestly find improv scary. I'm just being honest. I find it very scary because exactly what you said, it's unplanned. Um and I like things scripted. Um, so there's a little thing, a little story. So I am autistic. Hey everyone, I'm autistic. So people who
Mhm.
are autistic really like things planned and scripted.
Mhm.
And so that is honestly terrifying for me. So a lot of times when I'm like
Yes.
before I talk to somebody, and that's anything, like when I go on the phone, I think I have to think about what I have to say beforehand instead of going
Yes.
on the spot. Because if when I do go on the spot, I blank out and my anxiety is through the
Yeah.
roof. So improv scares me. I find it very cool and interesting, but I just find it so scary. So
Yes. And it is. And I will say it is. And I'm talking now after like I've been doing it for a decade, right? More than a decade. But like the first time when I walked into that class, I was petrified, and I couldn't just like, it was like, oh, I was blanking. But it's just by doing it, a little bit more. And also because like I said, the environment, like it was very safe space. Like, so where I was taking my classes, it was a very safe space to explore. Even if you froze the first few times, like sometimes I blanked a lot of times. I was terrified the first time to go on stage as well. But it's like step by step. Like now I'm talking about it, but it's been a huge journey. I didn't go from, just like A to Z like that. It's really something. It's a journey that, yeah. And I completely like, I can understand how it's super scary. I've been there. I know that,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Yeah, no, it is scary, but it's a challenge, and I like challenges, and it's something I might look into. And now since I'm interested
Ooh,
in voice acting now, I feel like that is definitely something that would be very
oh,
hopeful for me. So
yes.
I probably will look into it. I've done improv before. I've done acting stuff before, and so I've done a
Hmm.
bunch of improv stuff before. I just didn't enjoy it at the time because I just wasn't used to it. I didn't do it. I didn't keep doing it and doing it. We did it sometimes, but I think it's just something like you said. I have to keep doing to get used to.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but I naturally, like you're right, I naturally do improv all the time, especially when I'm with my friend and we're talking about like some type of fan fiction story, and I basically am doing improv like the entire time with characters, So it's definitely something I naturally do when I'm not thinking about it, and then when I hear the word actually improv, I'm like, who knew? So yeah,
Yes.
those are my thoughts about improv. So
Yes,
cool.
yes, yes, yes.
So why do you think confidence is a thing so many people struggle with?
I think, well, for various reasons, and it can be different for everyone. But I think like, sometimes, first of all, like, we have the fear of just like the judgment of others that's there, just like the fear of failure. um Sometimes we want to try something and we don't feel confident because we haven't done it before. We're afraid of what people will think, or people will, laugh at us or whatnot, and we get a lot into our heads, and sometimes like even overthinking it. And then we get paralyzed. Like, I say that because like that's me, right? That's like, get paralyzed. It's just like, no. And you get scared. You get scared to do the thing, or whatnot. So I think there's a lot of that, of just like overthinking, thinking of, about like, fears, a lot of fear of failures, fear of judgment. um but then also, like, it depends. Like, if you're shy, naturally shy, that already there, like, it is very hard, just being, in the spot, and it's just like, it's scary to just like take that step, and say like, okay, I'm okay. I don't have all these doubts. So sometimes, like, yeah, I
Mhm.
say all of this that to say that, yeah, for me, I think that's why some people, like a lot of people, struggle with like confidence, like all this fear of like judging and everything. And I think like even nowadays, even worse with like social media. Sometimes we look at like things look perfect. Like, for instance, like I struggle sometimes to show myself on social media. I feel like, oh, everyone looks so confident and poised and everything. So then I'm just like getting to my head that like I don't look, so like that I got things together like the others. Like, so you compare yourself and everything, and the judgment, and then you kind of like step back, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Yeah, I that is your answers is definitely something I mean, you're right. That I can relate to fear of failure, overthinking, fear of judgment. I also say too, for me, is not feeling good enough. Um, and
yes.
confidence has been definitely like a journey for me this year. I have definitely have seen a lot of improvement just by like learning about myself and discovering about myself. this year. So I've definitely have seen an improvement with my confidence, and I'm like, yay, just like want to just be happy about. But confidence was
Yay.
definitely a thing that, and it's still a learning curve for me.
Yes.
It's just like all my life, confidence was a thing that I really, really struggled with. It just I was just still am honestly just finding insecurity,
Yes.
and that fear of rejection and failure and judgment, because honestly, that has happened to me. I'm plenty of
Mm-hmm.
times being rejected, plenty of times I messed up on things or so-called failed, and plenty of
Yes.
times people have judged me. So
Yes.
yeah, that's basically where I just leave it off at. So you're definitely right
Yeah.
about that because that is right on the money.
But I like the point that you said, because like sometimes it is valid. It's not only in our heads, it is valid. You've been we've been judged in the past. You've been, so I can relate as well. So sometimes maybe you have people who had said things that put doubts in your head, and stuff like that, so that then you don't feel that you're good enough. You feel kind of like, oh, I'm insecure because maybe people around have said have mentioned things, have judged or whatnot, and that stays in our head. There's this voice there, not only the voice of others, but then also our own voice that's telling her, hey, I don't know, I don't think like who do you think you're gonna do that, really? And
Mhm.
that's kind of like that's nagging voice, and then the whole thing, the imposter syndrome, comes as well. It's like, who am I to try this? I don't think like I'm good enough to do that, or things like that. But all of these things can come into play.
Yes, you're right. A lot of thoughts will come in my head a lot of times, and I know a lot of people can relate to. It's just like, okay, why would you do that? Or you shouldn't have done that. That was just not something you should have done, Mariah. It's those thoughts, and I'm just like, oh no. Or like if I did something, and then like before, and then like in the future when I attempt it again, it's just like, nah, you shouldn't do that. Cause remember last time when you made a fool of yourself, Mariah? Oh yeah, let me not do that again. So.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that's how it is. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes,
so why
this
do you?
little voice.
Yeah. So just adding on to that, why do you think specifically creatives and artists struggle with confidence? And this is a big thing because
Oh wow. Yes. I mean, yeah, I'll speak for myself, like, as like creative, and everyone's like, perspective can be different. So, but I would say for me, there's a lot of things that come into play. I think as creatives, we strive to sometimes for perfection. Before we put our thing out there into the world, again, all of the things that we talk about, they come into play, like the fear of judgment. I remember like my first script that I wrote and I shared with someone. I was shaking. I was like anxious. I felt like, I don't know, it was like an out of body experience, like someone that's going to read what I wrote. I felt like, honestly, like naked. Like it's just like you give something to someone, just like, oh my god. And yeah, all these things come into your head, like what are you gonna, what are they gonna think about, like am I like, is the what I wrote, is it, for instance, it was, for me it was comedy, so is it funny? Are you gonna laugh at the jokes? Maybe it's just I find it funny, maybe nobody else find it funny. They have all these things that come, and then they're much better writer than I am. Like they'll probably judge me and say like, what, all of these things come. And I think also we strive for perfection, so sometimes even before we get to the point of sharing, we take a lot of time, take sometimes too much time to start sharing. Um so like I said, I speak for myself, but I think some creatives might relate, like, we strive for perfection, we want things to be the best. And look, for like writers, we always say it like, your first draft is always going to be kind of like not the best. So
yeah,
why do we think that we have to make it like perfect? And I say that to myself as well, because like, I've been in writers group procrastinating sharing because I say, no, it has to be like the best. And it's the first draft. And we all say, like, yeah, the first draft is never the best. It's, it's the start of something. And, when you get some feedback, you make it better. And that's like the mindset I try to be in instead of just sitting on something and try to be perfect when in reality, like it needs to be shared to be improved on upon, right? So yeah, I think like for us like creative, like yeah, we strive for perfection, and again, all the fears that I mentioned before, like they come into play.
Yeah, you're right. I definitely another thing, another journey this year. I am definitely trying to learn that it does not need to be perfect, Mariah. But that's something every time I do something creative, no matter what it is, I gotta be perfect. Like when I was doing photography stuff, I will spend
Hmm.
just hours of editing stuff, um, to make it perfect. Um, which and this ties into the next question, so I'm gonna go into the next question. Um,
Hmm.
but as artists, we tend to compare ourselves to other people. We tend to feel like we
Hmm.
are frauds or just not good enough. This is where imposter syndrome comes in. What's your
Yeah.
take on this? And what are ways to manage this feeling? I would just like to add in with that question. That's so much photography. That was a big thing for me because I was looking at what other people were doing. And so I didn't feel like I was a good enough photographer because I'm seeing these other people who are fully booked out and having all these clients and having all this engagement on their social media and everything, and me not really getting that much. It's just like, oh, I like, am I like good enough? Like, it's just, ooh, and it's so much, different art. That's just an example of photography. I can go on a different one for every single one of my creative, interests, but that's just one example. But yeah,
Yes.
your take on this.
Yeah, I mean, yes, what you said, like totally, I can relate as well. Um, Imposter syndrome, like it is something as well. Like, so when I went so on my creative sabbatical, and I told you, like I decided to put like the accountant aside, and I lived as a creative. So I, that's when I really started to share what I was writing. So I was working on a script, right? And I went to these different networking and kind of like events for writers and the producers and whatnot. And when people were asking me like, "Oh, so what are you? What are you?" And I was just saying like, "Oh, well, I'm an accountant, but I like to write." That's how I would kind of like introduce myself. And until like one person told me, it's like, "Okay, but okay, you like to write, so you're a writer." And I'm like, "No, I like to write because I didn't really publish something or anything." And I was just like, yeah, I just like I write for myself, but I was just kind of like saying things like that. And the person was like, "Did you write anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did write some stuff." Okay, so you're a writer. You wrote, you're a writer. You're not a published writer or author, but you're a writer. And then it kind of shifted my perspective. I was like, yes, it's true. I wrote a lot of stuff. I just didn't share it, or it was not published. But yes, I am a writer. And from that moment on, during my sabbatical, when I would introduce myself in these like networking events and stuff like that, people were asking like, "So, what are you?" And I would say, "I'm a writer." And it was so hard at first to just like for the words, like because the imposter syndrome. I'm like, who am I? Like I'm like, oh, I feel like a fraud. But the more I was saying it, I don't know, it's just like, you embody it. And also, the mindset shift is just like, I do write. I wrote a lot actually. It's just like, yes, I'm not published, or I'm not like, having something that's been out there or produced. But I did write a lot of stuff. So yes, I'm a writer. So I had to do this mindset shift, and also start kind of embodying it, saying it to myself, saying it like to others, so I could believe it. So uh, I would say like those are some things that, in general, for for imposter syndrome, I would say um, that can be helpful. Is just like say it out loud, embody it, like and at first it's gonna feel like, ugh, you're gonna feel like it's terrible, it's not you. But the more you say it, the more like you voice it, you will start to drown the little voice. You know that little voice we were talking about that keeps like nagging us,
Mhm.
saying like,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
speak it out, say it out loud, drown that voice, right? So that's why I say sometimes, I just like to my clients, just like drown that. We're gonna drown that voice, that little voice there. We're gonna drown it. We're gonna use your voice. Your voice is powerful, and let's start using your voice um, to affirm, who you are, so you can drown this like little voice there. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I was kind of trying to write my example sentence right now first because I this is something I've been dealing with like now. I'm a screenwriter, but sometimes I'm just like, am I a screenwriter? I mean, you're right. I wrote screenplays before. I've taken a pause the last 2 years,
Hmm.
but I definitely have written screenplays and stuff like that. I mean, I made my film. It's just a lot of times I feel
Yes.
weird. I felt, yeah, I just felt weird being saying I'm a screenwriter because I'm saying it to these people who are like professionals, and then they have their screenplays. They know all about like the industries. Know all the directors, managers have
Yes.
scripts, sold and stuff, and then just me who just coming out of college with just a few scripts. Yeah, I just didn't feel qualified to say, "Hey, I'm a screenwriter," but you're right. I've written screenplays, so
Yes.
I am a
Yes.
screenwriter. I know I took a pause on it, but that doesn't mean I'm not a screenwriter. I'm a screenwriter. Everyone takes breaks. It's okay. So,
Yes, you are a
yeah.
screenwriter, so you even like you have your film that was produced that's out there. So you are a screenwriter. Sometimes, maybe it's not produced or whatnot, but he's still a screenwriter. So
Yes.
yes, and maybe you don't have like the experience. Like that's what we said. Sometimes we meet people who have way more experience and accolades, which is in everything, honestly. And everybody starts has to start somewhere, right?
Mhm, they have to
So
start like us.
even the most accomplished screenwriter, they were also like, newbies. They all also had like just a few screenplays before they became like big. So we have to remember that everybody has to start somewhere, and it's okay. It is okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I often forget people start somewhere. I feel like I just feel like they automatically we start where they're at. Honestly, I'm just like, that's just how it feels sometimes.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So you're right. I like that. I like that. So, what are some creative ways to build our confidence? I know you mentioned improv, but are there any other ways that you like as well to?
Oh yes, like I talk about like embodying like a role play and all, because I think like using like all of our senses, like the body, as well, like movement and really get inspired as well. Like even, I like to use like writing, so journaling, imagining, and stuff like that. So or using our imagination, um, the power of like the written word, saying out loud, so I love to use like all those senses to really inspire a confidence. I feel the more using our voice, using like our bodies, all of that, like it really helps to helps with our mindset. It helps like really embodying like whatever like we're working on for the confidence. But yeah, I think like those are the things like for sure. Like my lane, like it's really improv. I love like to use like that's like my secret like spice that I love to use. So but
Mhm.
yeah, I would say like a lot of role playing, a lot of embodying, a lot of using like all our senses to help really kind of getting into that confident space. But yeah, and of course, like just a coaching session, just like by talking and like we're doing here. So we have these mindset shifts, right? That can happen, right? So
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I like this. I think when you were talking about these different ways, I was thinking about which is basically like the same thing as you mentioned, like role playing, which is like like act. It's like I feel like it's like acting kind of. Um,
yeah, kind
but
of like yeah.
yeah, yeah. But because I do that, I guess with my friend a lot when we like share stories and stuff. I feel like that's something I generally like to do. And like you said, writing stuff out, it definitely helps with like my confidence and everything like that. And then another thing I would like to add in too is music. I really feel like
Yes.
when I sing, I feel this sense of confidence, and it's it's something I'm like I try to explain it to people. It's just like whenever I sing, I just feel like a different person. Like I feel like this girl who's fully
Yes.
embodying the confidence that's like stuffed inside her. I don't know. I just
Yes.
when I get into it, I
Music.
love music. I get into it. I get into the flow. It's the state. I just
Yes.
feel like I feel the full confidence inside me coming out. Like this is me. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, and you know what? Like, when I was saying, like, the all using all our senses, and I like to have, have a good power song. Sometimes, like, when I know that I'm gonna be doing, like, let's say, a presentation or a big thing, and I'm just like, "Okay, you know what? Let's put my power song, or one of my power songs, something that lifts me up," and you feel the energy, like, really. So it's always good to have, like, a power song that you can either belt out or just being inspired or even dancing, using, like, the music, like the movement, having your power poses or whatnot. It really helps again with the embodying. So yes, definitely, I love that. Music is definitely something as well, like using the power of sound. Yes.
Yes, I feel that. I actually I have a lot of power playlists. But I have this one specifically and it's called Power to Woman. And I enjoy that one because I mean like it's self-explanatory. Power to Woman. It's basically a
Yes.
playlist with honestly just female artists with these women empowering songs honestly. And I
Yes.
enjoy that playlist. So, you're right.
Yes,
I
likewise.
love power
And
songs.
yes, one last thing I add that really helps with confidence and, being immersed, like, so finding a safe space to really, whether, like, yeah, for sure, like a coaching session with someone. But I mean, for me, like I said, I joined an improv, like, school. Finding the right space where the people you find people who are like-minded and very supportive is very important as well, to just like in your journey into being more confident. For me, I don't think, like, if I didn't have the support, whether it's like, improv or my writers group or whatnot, like being surrounded by people who are championing you, cheering for you, I feel like is also very important, in being, your growth and being confident. So definitely I'll add that too.
I definitely agree with you on that one too. I definitely do. Um, can humility and confidence go together?
Mhm. Yes, definitely. Having some it takes a village, but it takes a village, like I said, people who are championing you, having a community, the support of a community. For us as creatives, like, depending on the art, but, like, we know, like, for writers, the screenwriters, like, we're all only the beginning of something bigger. And having, like, it's a whole team, that's like creates something, and having the support of, just like, the people, like having a team like that's just like championing your idea, that are want to make your things better, and just like where you can grow and learn, even if you make mistakes, that it's okay, it's a safe space to explore. I do feel like, yes, having a good community and people who are backing you up, people who are championing and cheering for you, is, I would say, like, very important. Like, but the thing is, like, in my opinion, like, it's the best scenario, to have confidence, like, to grow. But however, sometimes we don't always have that. So for sometimes we have to go outside of our usual circles to find this community or these circles to really help with our growth and our
hmm
confidence. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Um, I will say it's the words sound very similar. So, but I meant to say humility, humility, not community.
Hmm.
Humility.
Oh,
So
okay.
No, you're good, but that was good to know as well. That was good to know as well.
Yes, 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 yes,
That was good information, okay? But yes, can
yes.
humility I know they sound in a they sound very similar. But can humility and confidence go together? As somebody who's very
Yeah.
modest, humble, it's like, can
Oh,
I be
yes,
also
definitely.
confident? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, there's a way to be confident. Like, we say the quiet confidence, like being confident in something that you do, not in a way that is arrogant. For instance, like, I've came across a lot of people who are, maybe like screenwriters who are more like we talked about more accomplished, and you feel very intimidated, but they don't make you feel like they are very helpful. They sometimes like end up being mentors, and it's just this um they come from a place of just like, even though they could be like, oh, they know what they're doing, right? They're accomplished, but they have this kind of like confidence that's just like very humble,
Mhm.
giving back, helping people, and also it's not like, like I said, it's quiet confidence, it's not loud. So I think yes, there is a way to be, you know humble and just like and confident at the same time.
Mhm.
Doesn't need to be loud. Confidence doesn't need to be loud all the time.
Mhm. Which ties into the next question. What's the difference between confidence and arrogance?
Well, okay, for me, I would say like, arrogance is more of just like, we were talking about judging. We were talking about like people who are perhaps like, yes, they are good. Let's say we'll talk like about a screenwriter that has all these accolades, but that really wants nothing to do with like people who are just started, or even though they came from a place like as well, like they started somewhere too, but having this kind of arrogance of just like, I don't want to be associated with like, because I'm up there. I don't want to be associated with like, what kind of people who maybe not as accomplished as myself, or very more demonstrative, instead of like lifting up people, maybe use their confidence to tear down people, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I find like, yeah, this kind of like arrogance, but sometimes confidence can be mistaken for arrogance. To some people, like for someone can be very confident and it can be seen as arrogant sometimes, but it's not really. For instance, like if you go like, you're in a space that you are, your topic or whatnot, and sometimes some people, especially if people feel threatened, they might feel like, they might see perceive you as arrogant, I feel. But
Mhm.
it's more about them. It says more about them than it says about like you. And I think it's in the approach, really. It's in the approach. If you're using your confidence like to help, to just like not being like to tear down people, or to just like prove that you're someone, or I don't know, using like um I think like, yeah, if you're just being confident just to help others or whatnot, or just like stating like matter of factly things, I don't think it should be constituted as arrogance. But like I said, some people might perceive it as arrogance. Also, it's all in the delivery, right? So there's that too. Sometimes um we may not think something that we said was like in an arrogant tone, but it might be perceived as that. It's something to kind of like, we have to work on and see like uh
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So, why do you think insecurity can be disguised as arrogance or bullying, which kind of ties in to what you were like talking about a little bit?
Yeah, I think like I said, I was saying like sometimes some people may perceive like um confidence as arrogant, but there are cases, for instance, like you are, let's say you are an accomplished screenwriter, you are so your thing, but sometimes someone can be jealous or whatnot, and perceive you as like, because they're insecure about their accomplishments or their spot. They can't perceive you as you being arrogant. And then that kind of like this insecurity might lead to, people like bullying or making fun of you because that they feel that they feel threatened basically
Mm-hmm.
because perhaps they're not as accomplished or whatnot, right? And it happens like
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. Sometimes you're at a job, you have a boss, and sometimes you are an employee that might maybe know more than your boss, and your boss feels threatened, and I mean, you're just there to help, but your boss may feel threatened because they know, like, they should know because they're the boss, and you're the employee, and they might feel threatened about you knowing more than them, even though
That
sometimes you're not even like you're not vying for their job or whatnot, but and they can see, sometimes tear you down or start like bullying or whatnot, like being very toxic because they're threatened because they think you might go for the position or whatnot.
that remind me of the movie Matilda. Do you know that movie Matilda at all? By
Oh,
chance?
yes, 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 yes.
Okay, yeah, right. So I was just when you talked about that, I was just thinking about how her dad got so mad every time she proved him right, wrong. I mean, every time she proved him wrong.
Yeah.
Oh man, he got
y-
mad.
yes, yes, yes.
And
So
yeah,
sometimes, yeah.
yeah, I'm
No,
done. Go ahead.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, 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 exactly what you're saying. It's just like sometimes people, because they feel threatened, and especially if there's like a position of like, I would say, power, or just like, and it's like you can't. It's not possible that you know more than me. So what they do, instead of just like maybe learn and try to elevate themselves, well, it's easier for them to tear someone down. So like this, they'll look good, right? So yeah, unfortunately, it
Mhm.
happens, right? So, yeah.
I also say too. I also think too. I think people also could be jealous as well
Oh
because
yeah,
they're jealous of something that they basically don't have or and they want from you. Whether that's like internally or like physically or whatever, it's something that they just want that you have basically, and it's another form I feel like of because they are, they have that confidence there and they feel jealous of what you have,
hmm,
and that's how it can be disguised as arrogance or bullying and things like that. That's just my
definitely.
thoughts about. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes. So, all right. Um so how about some specific characters? I know we mentioned Matilda. If you want to, we can
Yes,
talk about that one. But also, I was also thinking about Nemo because Nemo was a very insecure little fishy.
yes.
A very insecure little fishy. So whatever one you want to talk about, just like let's just talk about some specific examples of their insecurity and their low self esteem and how it's shown in the movie.
Yes, I mean, like, I don't remember everything about Finding Nemo. Like I would have to dissect a little bit to specific. But yes, Nemo was very insecure. He had like this journey, right, of just like, yeah, finding his way back. But the thing is, like, I think what I can remember is like it's a journey, right? And he was also, we talked about community and having the people around you. So Nemo had people also helping him along his journey, which is, I find, like, it's very important. Like when we are, um insecure and looking, we are on a journey, it's good to surround ourselves and have like people who are there to help us, and while we're in these kind of phases of insecurity, maybe help us to stop doubting ourselves, right? So yeah, no, I felt like that I love that you bring out Nemo, but yeah, that's very that's very pretty.
Because this is a very creative podcast as well, and we talk about
Yes,
film and stuff. So I had to like bring up something. And I was thinking, I was looking at when
yes.
honestly when for this episode, I was researching some characters that are insecure. There's a bunch of characters that are insecure, but I saw Nemo. I was like, But Nemo, let's talk about Nemo. I wanna just add in
Yes.
too that Nemo, because he had a tiny fin, he didn't feel like he was a good swimmer, that was, like, the
Yes.
whole inner conflict he was having with himself in that movie, and so I remember in that when he was in that fish tank, um, I think he needed to go he they wanted him to go up in that little, I guess, tube
Yes.
or whatever, and, he's just like, "Oh, I'm not really a good swimmer," and then I already forgot that big fish name.
Oh
This movie
yeah,
a
no, what's
million
the
times. W
Yeah, no, I forgot his
I'm
name,
sure
but
our
too.
listeners the listeners who know the movie very well can probably tell me, but
Yes.
I forgot, but we all know. We know what we know the fish with the stripes. We know what we're talking about. Um,
Yes, 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 yes,
yes,
yes, yes. We
yes,
know the
he's
fish. We know the fish.
and when Nemo said, "Oh, I'm not a good swimmer," and like, I mean, look at my fin, basically, and he's just like, "Didn't stop me." You see his shredded up fin. I was like,
That's so true.
you know, I'm supposed to feel sorry for this fish, not laugh at him. But anyway,
That's so funny
yes,
though.
yeah.
That's so
This is not
funny.
exactly
Yes,
how it
yes.
went in the. This is not directly how it went in the movie, y'all. If you didn't watch Nemo, but this is basically how it went. If you
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, that's
That's so
anyways,
funny.
I'm yeah, I'm, like, getting ahead of myself, but that was, like, a good example of him, like, just thinking he's not good enough, and, this fish is just
Mhm.
like, "Hey, look at me, I don't have a good fin either, but I still try," basically, so okay.
That's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah,
I think I
exactly.
gotta go watch Finding Nemo after.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it. It's been like a while, but yeah, I definitely remember the fish you're talking about. I definitely remember that for sure. It's just
Yes,
like yeah,
yes. Okay, so this is like a total
that's
yes. Okay, so this question is totally off, like, totally leaving Nemo, totally different. Serious now. Whew. By the age of 12, children with ADHD receive 20,000 more negative messages from adults than their peers without ADHD. This is why a lack of confidence is very common for those who are neurodivergent. What advice
Mm.
do you have for someone who has basically received criticism all their life? How do you build confidence from that?
Yeah, I think we talked upon about it, like, right?
Yeah.
It's the journey, but I would say, like, first of all, like, I am a coach, a certified coach, but I'm not a mental health like professional, so I'll put that down there as well. So whatever that I say, like, it's more like of my perspective and not like you know, uh, mental health like advice, right? Like professional mental health advice, right? But I will say, however, that for HD, ADHD, and just people with, like you said, like insecurities in general, like how do people like that have a lot of insecurity, just like how they find like the confidence. I would say like a lot of things. It's a journey. First of all, I think we have to get into a place and the mindset that it's not gonna be quick, like overnight, because sometimes we see someone or we see we want the end results with the end goal. For me, like I'm when I started this journey, I'll say we talk about Hollywood. I saw Hollywood. I want to have my play on Hollywood. I want to be on Broadway or something like that. And you know from the person that I was like 10 years ago, like it's really hard to jump from like that person to straight to the big lights in Hollywood. There's a journey that you will have to go through. There's a lot of things like the challenges that things that you have to work on your mindset, and step out of your comfort zone a lot, which is really uncomfortable, you know, because you're aiming for something that so you're aiming for something that's kind of like a little further, like let's say in the stairs, right? You can't really go from the first step to like the 20th step. So I would say know that is a journey. Know also that like everything that we talked about, like surround yourself with people who are also, because like, when we already face criticism, whether it's our own voice or our own, like, the people who are around us, it's good to change like who we are surrounding ourselves with to help us grow, like, and grow into the person that we want to be, the
I
confident
like.
self like that you want to be. So looking out for the people's, the whether the mentors, coach, just a supportive community that will champion you as you take that journey. But also, like, it's a journey of exploration. It's a journey where you'll have to, explore, um, different things. Like I said, get out of your comfort zone, and there will be know that there will be a lot of doubts. It's not easy. It's not like the doubts and everything will disappear just like that. Poof. No, it will be kind of like um a dialogue in your head. It's gonna be a lot of things like and sometimes you think you're good, oh, I'm good, like I'm comfortable with this part, uh and then boom, again, you have like the voices are back, the insecurity, because you're on the next level. You still have, it's constantly, you have to work, uh you have to work on yourself, and you have to work your mindset, I think, every step of the way. But if you have the willingness, you're open, and you really surround yourself with, the right people, I do believe you will see progress. You will see progress. And I think sometimes we feel that we haven't progressed, but listen to the people around you. They will tell you. Because like me, a lot of people will just say, like, especially the people who knew me before, they're like, wow, you changed. Wow, how did you do that? You'll hear those kind of comments. And then you'll know that something is happening. Because sometimes we don't see there's change. We're just like, we're still aiming for, like, okay, I'm still aiming, let's say, for Hollywood. And until I'm there, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything, but it's not true. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have to just like take a look at what, like, we've achieved, look at like all the steps we've done in the past, and so a lot of yeah, reflecting, taking some time to reflect on things that you already have done, and yeah, I would say, like, those are some things that can be helpful.
That's good. That's good. That's a good answer. I think this ties into like one of the last basic questions of towards this topic, and it pretty relates to kind of what you said. I don't know if you have anything else to add to this, but what do you have to say to a creative or artist who struggles with low self-esteem?
Yeah, to a creative, I would say, um first off, like, if you're creative, already we know it's hard being a creative. It is not easy. Being creative, especially, depending on which, like, I mean, the people who are you're surrounded with. Sometimes you just might feel already like just different, because like people, you have your imagination, you're seeing things differently, and so it's already like difficult. But I would say, look, um believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing. You have a passion, and that passion is there for something. It is, you have something that you have to share with the world. Hang on to that. Hang on to, whether, you know depending on what kind of artist, it doesn't matter whether you're a painter, writer, dancer. You have something to share with the world. So make sure that you are in a position to share your art with people. And if that means that you got to change, and that's why I say, like, my journey was like, well, this is my passion, I really want to do that, and that pushed me to look for, okay, what can I do to start this journey of going to Hollywood or LA or what. So hang on to believe in your art, believe um in that, you have people who are waiting for whatever you're sharing. People are waiting to be inspired. People are waiting for whatever you're creating. So hang on to that and take the little steps. The what's the next little step you can take towards like, you know, this journey of confidence? What is, think about that. Like, what's the next little step that you can take and focus on the tiny steps, not the where you want to go, the big picture, but then focus on the tiny steps. And before you know it, you look back and you'll see like, wow, I already made 20 steps. Like, you're not going to be the same person that you were like, you know, 3 months ago or whatnot. But just like hang on to that. And lastly, we were talking about perfection, right?
Mhm.
So just know that, your art, it's not gonna be perfect all the time, but you do need to share it with the world. You do need to, it's there for a reason. Your talent is there for a reason. So hang on to that and make sure that it is shared with people.
Beautiful. I like that. I like what you said. Focus on the tiny steps, not the big, like basically journey and I guess the whole destination because that's literally
Yes.
that's me. So I so definitely that's definitely something I want to look into more. I'm definitely something I've learned. Honestly, like I need to focus more on like be honestly present now in the moment, doing
Yes.
mindfulness and things like that. So those tiny steps, yes, it's definitely something I just need to work on. So I like that.
Yes.
Focus on the tiny steps. I like that. And I also like how you also said your art won't be perfect, but it needs to be shared to the world. So you're right. So
Yes. Yes.
I like that. So thank you so much. Are there any projects or announcements you're working on that you'd like to share with the audience?
Sure. I mean, like, I'm always working with women entrepreneurs or solopreneurs or, creatives that are, shy and introverted that want to work on the confidence. So yeah, definitely like having those sessions to help out. But also, in 2 weeks actually, we have like I have a collaboration that's coming up. I'm very excited about. So, I don't know when this will air, but I mean, it is something that probably we will also offer again. But it's just like we have like a series of workshops that combine, confidence, but also sound. So I'm partnering up with a sound designer that she was amazing, who does like a lot of like affirmations, audio journal, to inspire, to we were talking about like to kind of like basically drown the noise like that we sometimes we and document or journeys, right? So I'm collaborating with her to bring like a series of workshops where we are really working on our confidence. So going from point A and looking at our future confidence self, and how can we fast track and get, quicker to that point by embodying, whether it's like through role playing and using sound and, our own kind of like voice to motivate ourselves. So it's going to be very fun. It's going to be like, having like an audio journal at the same time while we're doing like to see the progress, and it's very, fun and unique. And so yeah, we'll be offering this, like it's going to be starting in 2 weeks, November 6th, for 4 weeks, skipping the Thanksgiving week as well. But yeah, I'm super excited about this collaboration. So that's coming up.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. That's exciting. Where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at yes to you coaching. So it's yes, two number two, you coaching. And I'm also at so you can find me like on all socials at yes to you coaching. Also on LinkedIn as Linda Cajuste. You can look me up there as well. And yeah, that's like where basically you can find me for like, yeah, the coaching and everything.
Okay, awesome. I'm also going to put that in the episode description. So for those who might have missed that, just check on the episode description. I have all her links right there. So cool.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom about confidence. Honestly, that was really great and very informative, and I had really fun. Had a lot of fun talking about this. Just
Yes.
going through all like the confidence building, what is improv, talking about Nemo, just all of
Yes,
that
so
stuff.
fun. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
Hey, if you listen to this entire episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my podcast. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. And if you like what you heard, or you have your feedback or thoughts, please just leave them in the comments and ratings. I would appreciate it. Your feedback means everything to me. And if you want to keep up with more of what's going on with this podcast and know more about the life of Mariah, then follow me on the gram. That is at everything story mental health. But it's also in the description because I know that's a pretty long title. So, again, thank you so much and have a wonderful week.